I wanted to make this video about why I don't believe child hate belongs in the antinatalist community for a couple of reasons, and I've been meaning to make this video for a while. Now, before I get into the bulk of the video, the first thing I wanted to say is that I personally haven't seen this as being a massively pervasive issue in the antinatalist community, and I don't think most antinatalists do hate children, but there are some who do. And I've seen some examples over the few years that I've been in the antinatalist community where it seems people feel comfortable expressing this view in antinatalist circles. And whilst I am a big advocate for free speech and I believe people should have the right to express these views, I think we should nurture the sort of community where people actually don't feel comfortable expressing child hatred online. I think it's completely acceptable to express frustration about certain things that children do or about certain situations that involve children, but to demean children and to spread child hatred, I don't think falls into that ballpark, and I don't think we should accept it in the antinatalist community. And some people may think, well, if you don't think this issue is massively pervasive, but you've just seen some examples of it, why are you bothering making a video about it? Well, I think even if an issue isn't massively pervasive, it's still worth making a video about. I've made over probably 200 videos now. This is just one video on one topic, but also there are three key reasons that come to my mind about why I think we should all be contributing to a culture in the antinatalist community that makes child hatred less common. The first one is that there are members of the antinatalist community who themselves have children. They've either adopted or they had biological children before they found out about antinatalism. These people are valuable members of the community and have a rightful place in the community. And I think if the antinatalist community is the sort of space where child hatred can exist unchallenged, which I'm not saying it does completely go unchallenged, but I think if we don't nurture a culture where it is heavily challenged and discouraged, that these antinatalist parents will probably feel less welcome in the community as a result. And I think that's bad. The second reason is that antinatalism is becoming a lot more Googled, a lot more known about, a lot more people are interested in it and looking into it, and that's going to include children. Now, obviously, many children are intellectually immature and they wouldn't fully understand the nuances of the conversations that people have in the antinatalist community, but that actually goes for some adults as well. And there are some children who will be intellectually mature enough to engage with this subject, and if they come to the antinatalist community to engage with this subject and talk to people, I don't think it's good for them to be met by a community that either doesn't push back enough or expresses child hatred. And the third reason, and this is the reason that I'm mostly going to go into, is that I just think it's wrong. So let's explore why I think child hatred is wrong, especially in the antinatalist community. So the first reason is that it smacks to me of victim blaming. If antinatalists see anyone as victims, it's going to be children. And so why would we be hating on the very individuals that we think have been harmed by the thing we're criticizing? Now, obviously, antinatalists view everyone as being harmed by coming into existence, whether they're a child or an adult, but children are uniquely vulnerable and innocent and also haven't got to the point where they would continue the cycle of suffering like many adults will when they grow up and they decide to procreate themselves. So it makes no sense to me for antinatalists to be sending hate in the direction of the very individuals that we purport to care about. The second thing I want to say on this, and it's heavily linked, is that aiming criticism and toxicity towards children completely misidentifies the actual thing that we're trying to combat here. As antinatalists, we're not trying to combat children, we're trying to combat natalism, the idea that it is acceptable or a good thing to bring new beings into existence. This is an idea and an ideology. It's not children. And if an antinatalist wants to focus their criticism on the individuals that further natalism, well, then they're not children either. They're the adults that procreate. And the third thing I want to say on this is that the predominant reason that I've seen people express child hatred is that they're frustrated with the actions of children. They find them annoying. But you've got to take into account that children can't really help that. They haven't fully cognitively developed as individuals yet. They don't fully understand the nuances of social interaction and the consequences of their actions. It would be like expressing hatred online for people with severe learning difficulties who don't understand the social situations that they're in. Yes, you're free to be frustrated with an individual who's not interacting with you in the way that you'd wish them to interact with you, or they're not behaving in the way that you wish they would behave, but to spread hatred towards them when they don't fully understand the situation they are in because they haven't cognitively developed to the level that most adults have at the moment. Yeah, this makes no sense. And one final thing I want to chuck in there, which I think is just super ironic, is that much of the child hatred that I have seen, which again, I just want to say, I don't think it is completely pervasive in the antinatalist community, but one super ironic thing that I have seen is that when people tend to express child hatred, they do it in an extremely childish way, using terms like crotch goblins or cum monkeys. It makes me think, okay, you've come up with an inventive and some people may think funny name, but don't use those terms and then try and claim the high ground over a child. Anyway, let me know if you think I've missed any points here opposing child hatred. Let me know if you have any further thoughts on it, and I will see you in the next one.